How's it going, my beautiful people of the internet, except for you, Samantha, looking like a wheelbarrow? But besides that, here's the review for Thea, The Awakening. I felt like I had to play it a little bit longer, that's why the review is a little bit late, so let's get into it. At the beginning of the game, you get to pick from Mokosh or Horos, and as you play the game more and you get more wins as different gods, you'll unlock the other gods. You see that are question marked, and they all grant your villagers different abilities, whether it's better gathering, to be better fighters, and as you level them up, they'll grant you more bonuses. We're trying to explain this as easily as possible and as few time as possible. You start out in a village called Astoria, and this is essentially where it all starts. This is where you're going to build your land from, pick vegetables from, go get wood from, go get your main resources from, and this is where kids are going to grow up to be adults, so you can use them to go on expeditions and gather more resources for your village. In this game, there's a bunch of ways to quote-unquote have a victory or win. You can gather a bunch of resources and become a very advanced kingdom, and once you do that, you'll eventually gain a victory. Or you can see the quests on the map and complete one of the main quest line to get a victory as well. Or you have to kill a certain amount of very strong enemies and win to also have a victory. So there are different ways. So one mechanic that I thought was kind of cool at first, but then absolutely fucking annoying, is this card game that you have, and this is one of the ways to fight and do challenges in the game. Well, it's probably one of the only ways, and essentially what happens is it's like, oh, you have a challenge or you have to fight a monster. Every time there's enemies, this is how you have to fight. You can auto-resolve it, but you have a less chance of winning it, or you can play the card game. The card game's kind of complicated, but essentially it starts from left to right, and it's random on who goes first, so you never get to pick that. And once you get a hang of it, it's always better to play the card game, but since how long the card game usually takes, it's not that long, but considering how many enemies that you have to fight in the game, and if you're doing the storyline and killing things, you have to play the card game just hundreds of times, and it takes up so much time. And for all the lazy folk out there, or for the people who don't want to spend all their gaming time reading all the storyline or trying to read what they have to do, this whole game is voice acted besides your responses, and I think that's absolutely great. It attracts a lot of new players, and with all the storylines in the game, there's the main stories and then the other like subplot or side quests, but the side quests are like pretty long as well. I think they're all written pretty well, and they're all a fun time. So from Astoria, you have a bunch of people and villagers that are either fighters or gatherers, and whatever they are, you can send the gatherers out of Astoria on expeditions that they're called, and they can go gather different resources that isn't just vegetable and wood, and then you can set them in a camp, and every single day they will collect more resources, and you can also send fighters out to go do your main missions and go kill enemies for you and bring back loot. So remember, when you click on your expedition, it'll tell you if you guys are soon to get overweight. Before you get overweight, you want to travel back to your main village and drop off all your stuff. It'll immediately drop off all your stuff, which that's a little problem that we'll get to in just a second. But once you drop off everything and go to equipment and look at all the goodies you got and equip the better stuff to your characters, and you know, add gathering stuff so you can gather faster and cool stuff like that. Alright, so imagine if I have 5 people on an expedition. We go back to Astoria, welcome home guys, and some of us are hurt, so we stay there for like 2 days. If I want to go back out, you need wood and vegetables to survive every single turn, okay? So if I have 5,000 wood, it takes forever to divvy up between what I want in Astoria and what I want for my expedition. So it takes 2 to 3 minutes to leave my Astoria every fucking time. Why? Let me leave! Welcome to the main hub of Astoria. We have supplies. You can exit out some things so they don't burn, like rare wood or whatever. And we have production, gathering, and constructing. This is where you'll see all of your villagers and assign them to whether you want them gathering vegetables and wood or whatever it may be, or crafting a shirt. And constructing is important because it can grant you like more meat or a place for a medic or just random items. And from slashing and dashing crazy enemies and doing crazy quests, you also have a research bar of gathering, crafting, and construction. I meant to say web. And from here, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you have enough points, you can put them into whatever you like and to research and stuff. And yeah, that's cool. Thea the Awakening is all about surprises, whether it's certain side quests that just randomly pop up and someone needs help from you, or there's 3-4 different groups of enemies that attack you countless at Astoria, because they can attack you at Astoria as well, without warning sometimes, or even if your expedition is camping out for resources and stuff, people can still attack you and stumble upon you, and it's really cool how that happens. But sometimes you can be too reckless or not thinking about your current moves or what moves you're going to do in the future, so that might result in all of your villagers dying. If that happens, you get a game over and you have to start from scratch again. I'm glad there's a decent variety and random encounters that can happen to you, whether in your village or out when you're doing expeditions, and there's a bunch of different choices you can do, and depending on what god you have and how strong your village is and different things you have, you might have different choices to those random encounters, and especially side missions as well. Some of the pictures are recycled, but that's not really a huge problem. Sometimes it can confuse you a little bit, but besides that, it still keeps the game really exciting. If that word didn't get cut out from the last few seconds, I just replaced it there, so whatever. I think this game does really great, even taking a hard hit from the card game. I think it really slows down the pace of the game, and it's really not that much fun, and it's like not that exciting, besides, you know, you might lose all your shit or whatever. And the random encounters, if they were all different random encounters, that would make this game especially insane, but still great. As much as I want to give this game an 8.5 or an 8, because I especially just love this game to death, and after this review, I'm going to play the hell out of it again to try to get different victories, but I still think it suffers from some flaws and some gameplay issues that really slow down the pace of the game or just don't make it as fun as it could be, but it's still going to get a pretty great 7.5 out of 10 here on Gameocide.